Salam everyone and welcome to SomaliDispatch.com. Somalia is currently facing a political crisis born out of the election process disagreements. Somalia's parliament and president's terms have both expired. The opposition is insisting that a caretaker government must be put in place, and the international community is imploring Somali leaders to come together and work out on a process that would work, an electoral process that would work for everybody. Jibril Mohammed is a Somali political and social analyst who is a faculty member at Ohio University. He joins us to discuss these issues. Salam Jibril Mohammed, welcome to SomaliDispatch.com, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Abdul Qadir. Thank you for all you do to bring awareness to the Somali public wherever they are.
Excellent. If you could start us off with Somalia's current situation. As you know, there's multiple issues going on in Somalia. The biggest one being right now about the elections and the president's term and the parliamentarian's term running out. Could you give us a bit of an assessment of what is at stake here and what are the latest?
Abdul Qadir, Somalia is recovering from years of anarchy and instability and poor governance. For the past 10 years or so, there was a tradition of peaceful transfer of power. However, in all of those cases, in both cases before this one, there were extensions to the terms of the president, although this time it seems there is a lot more movement and opposition statements and kind of uncertainty that surrounds this time. What's happening right now is that the president's term was supposed to run from February 8th, 2017 through February 7th, 2021. That is the 4-year term that the Constitution has dictated. And within those 4 years, before the end of that term, there was supposed to happen an election. That election this time was supposed to be a one-person, one-vote, where every eligible Somali citizen can cast their vote and run for office. However, because of the situation in the country, because of the fragmentation in the country, that plan was put off, and an indirect model was agreed on in September last year. But the implementation of that plan was very contentious and therefore did not happen. Now the term of the president came to an end. The term of the parliament came to an end in December last year. But there was a resolution adopted by Parliament that stated that the sitting president and the Parliament will continue to serve until their replacements are elected. So in terms of the legality, the law is there. It's legal that the current incumbent president, the prime minister, and the Parliament, both chambers, are legally in office. However, the political environment is very tense, and there is need for political leadership right now more than anything else.
Thank you for that. As you know, with this issue of elections and not coming to fruition, there was a process discussions among the government and the various regional, state, federal members. There has been at least 4 of those that took place, and none of those actually yielded any fruitful result that would resolve the issues in the election process disputes. What do you make of the opposition? I shouldn't say the opposition, the regional members that are currently not in agreement with the federal government, i.e. Jubaland and Puntland. What are they relying on? What are their grievances in terms of what's happening in the country and not having a full process?
First of all, I would like to note that elections in developing countries are always, debated and contested, and Somalia is not an exception. This is a country that does not have strong institutions, so there are some political decisions that are sometimes made outside of the constitutional framework, and the meetings that you talked about happened outside of that, and the regional member states and the president of the Federal Republic of Somalia sat together to discuss an option that's an alternative to the law that stated that one person, one vote election will take place that was passed by Parliament. And in September of 2020, they agreed on an indirect election model that stipulated that, you know, each federal member state will conduct the elections in 2 cities, in 2 regions. And so a total of the 5 member states, each one of them will hold elections in 2 states, 10 locations plus Mogadishu, which will host the MPs from Somaliland, as well as the MPs from Mogadishu. What happened is that after the agreement and the timetable and everything have been agreed on, the government started to appoint members of the committees, the electoral committees, and there were challenges to those members. It was said that some of the people that were appointed were civil servants, others were intelligence and military officers, and therefore opposition figures and regional member states said that committee needs to be changed, or members of that committee needs to be replaced with civilians. The other contentious issue was the MPs from Somaliland who are going to be elected in Mogadishu, who is going to appoint the committee for them. That was also another contention. The third issue, and the most important one, that's more complicated than any other, is the issue of Gedo region, where the Jubaland administration is not in control of the city of Garbahari, and it wants, you know, before elections can happen there, they want their appointed governor and appointed district commissioner to be placed there. They want to send their commission there, and the practicality of doing that, while the local people are opposed to it, is a little bit more complex than it seems. And that is, there's also the issue of that region is located in the neighborhood of another country. It's a country, I mean, it's a region that neighbors both Ethiopia and Kenya. Ethiopian troops are based in the district of Garbahari. Kenyan troops on the border side of the Kenyan border have been accused by the government of Somalia of harboring elements that are opposed to the government, that have attacked the Somalia side and caused damages and casualties. So this has a regional implication beyond the discussions on the election modalities.
Right. It's interesting to note also that, and it's obviously a question as well, that Somali opposition, be they the member states or the union of candidates, presidential candidates, are all focusing on the term expiry, right? But the international partners and the government are actually focused on having the process to have an election continue, the dialogue to continue. What do you make of that, the disconnect?
So the opposition figures are calling for an end to the presidency of President Formaggio. It's worth noting that they are not calling for an end to the term of the parliament, which ended much earlier. They are actually just calling for the end of the presidency of Mohamed Formaggio. Now, the resolution passed by parliament states that the parliament stays in place and the president stays in place until such time their replacements are sworn in. So what is happening right now is more of a political pressure. It has been portrayed as if there is going to be conflict on, February the 8th. Nothing happened, which is a good thing. The opposition figures, I would like to point out, are not violent people. They are not people that are warlords or anything of that sort. For example, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, who just handed over the presidency to President Formaggio, is calling for an end to President Formaggio's term. And he's not a violent man. He's not a man that encourages people to rise up and carry guns. What's happening right now is political pressure. They're trying to pressure the president into acting, into accepting and making concessions to the federal member states. Specifically Puntland and Jubaland are asking for more concessions in Gedo, which President Formaggio is supposed to, which the local population is supposed to, and they're trying to push him further. Another issue, another reason that they are actually campaigning this way, that they're saying President Formaggio does not have the ability to lead this process, is because they do not want him to run in the upcoming elections because they feel he has the advantage of incumbency, and he has resources, and he has connections to the parliamentarians, and he has his prime minister and his cabinet are going to be managing the process of elections. So they are afraid that he will have an undue advantage during the election. So they are trying to pressure him into moving out or into stepping aside from managing the process, and so that they have an equal shot at the presidency.
Speaking of managing the process, on Farmage's, given his speech in front of Parliament a couple of days ago, he stipulated how many times he conceded to the the Jubaland and Puntland states' demands in the election process. What do you make of the president's handling of the whole process and his speech?
One thing that Somalia needs more than anything is the rule of law. Somalia needs to become a country of laws, not a country of men. What the president stated was that he, gave compromises to men, just gentlemen agreements to leaders of federal member states. And those agreements have not been kept. That was his message. And he was blaming outside forces for, influencing that change of heart on the part of those leaders. What I think is wrong is that the country needs to write laws, to pass laws, and those laws need to be respected by all sides. That would have been President Farmajo's best course of action. Now that he has left the legal side of things, he went to sit down with those leaders. He went to agree with them on some things. I think it's time for him to go back to the negotiating table, to sit down with them again, find a compromise, and so that the country can move forward towards an election. The only option that's open for Somalia right now is for the country to go to an election.
Right. Given the amendment that the parliamentarians made prior to their terms lapsing in terms of them being in office and the president's term not running out until a new president is elected, would that take the incentive out of the president to actually come up with a solution that might afford Somalis to go to the polls?
So the resolution by Parliament gives the legal mandate an extension. It doesn't give the president the freedom to stay in office, indefinitely. He has to hold elections. He has to work towards holding elections. Timelines have to be set up. There is no way that the president can simply say, because Parliament passed a resolution, that until a replacement is elected or a successor is elected, I will sit in office. That doesn't mean that's forever. That means you have to be working towards that plan. You have to be making that plan happen. And so it's not, it doesn't take the incentive out. It gives the legal solution to that, but it does not give a political solution to the problem. And what's happening right now in Somalia is a political crisis. It's a political mayhem. And that political mayhem can only be addressed if people have confidence in the process, and if people know that elections are going to be planned and they will be implemented in timely manner.
Jibril Mahmoud, I thank you very much for your time today and for clearly stipulating what is at stake in Somalia right now politically. And I applaud you for your time, and I hopefully would speak to you on a much better terms next time around. Thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Anyway, Somalia is going to do better. The Somali people have aspirations that are, very high. They want to live like the people of the rest of the world. And, violence is not an option. The only option is, a political settlement. And I am hopeful, I am confident, I'm optimistic that we will go towards that goal. And I really thank you for your interview.
You're very welcome.